game so we could just kind of dive right into the next week's opponent. So just piggybacking off the Chicago game, I just want to first and foremost credit our players and coaches. Obviously, that's been a common theme around here, the resilience, bouncing back after a loss. But this is a new team. We added a lot of new pieces. So it was good to see the 2025, not only defense, but team come back, the urgency, the intensity. Like me and Dan talked, we knew Thursday, Friday practice how we were going to play Sunday because of the way we operated throughout the entire week. And that's a collective effort. So I do want to shout the guys out, but more importantly, the players there from that standpoint. A lot of things we talked about correcting week 1 to week 2 showed up. There were still things there as far as starting the game, the first drive of the game. That's a big thing for me, getting on and off the field, creating that early in-game momentum. We failed to do that again. And then some of the third downs, man, we should have been way more efficient on third down than we were in that game. In 3 plays, you pointed at the first big touchdown. I think it was 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. Just drop coverage, man. It can't happen. You do that. It was the only guy open on the play, and it's because it was due to drop coverage. You go later in the game, 3rd and 15, unnecessary penalty, which then led to another 3rd down, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. We get an interception on the play, another unnecessary penalty. So that's 3 third downs right there. Instead of being 7 for 13, you're 4 for 13 on the day. That's a huge difference. And it alters not only the score, the momentum, things in the game where if our offense can't put up 50 points, those are plays we're going to want to have in the game moving forward. So just being able to learn not only through loss, but also through victory, I believe, and continue to progress as the weeks go. I want to shout out our defensive line last week. I know that was a big thing. Tim gave that gross stat. You know, he started the pressure off last week with, I think we only got close to the quarterback week 1 twice, he said. I hope you guys was pleased with the uptick there in the pressure. No, but all jokes aside, just credit the players, man. Really attentive to the details, making it hard on the quarterback, pre- and post-snap reads, things like that. That takes time, it takes detail, and it takes a level of training that these guys put in because they knew what they could be, and we still have a lot of growth. Giving up 21 points is still not the standard for defense around here. So we want to make sure we learn in defeat and learn in victory.
Chef, in basketball, there's the concept of making a player go left, go into his non-dominant trait. Now that Lamar is such a good pocket passer, like what is the left for him? Like what doesn't he do well?
Just like you guys asked me last week, what does Ben do well? I say everything. What does Lamar do well? Everything. What does he not do well? Nothing. I mean, he could beat you all different ways. Run game, pass game. Pass game, he could do it in the pocket, out of the pocket. So, I mean, it's why he's who he is, multi-year MVP in this league, and have the utmost respect for this player. He's a dynamic player in this league, and he's hard to prepare for. I've gotten a lack of sleep this week due to him, so I'll make sure I let him know that after this game.
When you face somebody like that, do you almost have to he's so dynamic out of the pocket, not only running but throwing the ball too? Is it one of those situations where, if he drops back, Shep, and he throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, you tip your cap and you move on, but you got to find one way to stop him and not let him kind of do multiple things?
No, I wouldn't be tipping my cap 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. I don't think any of us would be tipping our cap to that stat. But, no, I know what you mean, Tim, like trying to make them one-dimensional, so to say. And it's hard to do. The fact they've added D. Henry, it only doubled down on it. Like, it's hard to make this team one-dimensional. You just got to go in with a plan that we've created as a staff that we feel gives our players an opportunity to go out and have success against this unit. I mean, they're dynamic. You got Zay Flowers, you got Likely, you got Andrews, you got Henry, you got Lamar. I mean, that's before you talk about one of the strengths of the team is the front, the bigs. I mean, this team is who they are. Every year you're talking about the Ravens in the championship contention. Every year in and year out. And over the last couple of years, you've talked about us in the same context. So this is 2 teams. We know where this game stands. Now, it's early in the year. This isn't a deciding factor of who's going to the Super Bowl or anything, but it is a litmus test for us and let us know where do you really stand against the big boys in the league.
Your corners have been really active tacklers so far this season. How important is that going to be in this game specifically against a team with so many weapons like that?
One of my mentors, Aaron Glenn, always told me early on in this profession, my first year here, the identity of your defense, the toughness of your defense lies in how your DBs, specifically your corners, show up in the run game. And when he told me that 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, oh, really? The linebackers better stop the run. But now you start to look at schematically what offenses are doing. They're putting the ball on the perimeter, and they're doing it on purpose. Cracking support and making your corners tackle. And we've been afforded here this year. I mean, you see DJ Reed coming up last week. He looks like a linebacker. And it just sets the tone. If those guys could go in there and put their hat in there, why can't the linebacker? Why can't the safety? Why can't the defensive lineman? So we know that. We preach it, and these guys practice it. So absolutely, it's very important how your corners show up in the run game.
You mentioned first drive of the game being an important thing for you. A lot of people look at that, offenses scheming up their first 20 or whatever, and so maybe they have an advantage. Just philosophically, why is that so important, that first drive, to come out and get a stop?
For me, it sets the tone for the day. Now, it doesn't dictate how the outcome of the day, because you can have a first 3 and out and not get off the field the rest of the game. That's not good, too. But to me, it sets the tone. And me as a defensive guy, I want to be out there first and set the tone for the day. So when we're called to do that, we need to go do that and let the offense know they feed off us, we feed off them. You saw it last week. It was a 3-headed monster we had. It wasn't offense, wasn't defense, wasn't special teams. It was all 3 guys marching in lockstep and complementing each other. Sometimes we needed special teams. Sometimes the offense needed us. Sometimes we needed the offense. And when you have that clicking, that's when you're really rolling.
You mentioned the third down defense. That was the problem early in the Packers game as well. Is the challenge this early in the season just figuring out what your players do well on third down?
No, it's doing your job. I know what these guys do well, and they know what they do well. It's all about execution. It has nothing to do with anything else. We need to execute within the framework of the scheme, which we did do for the most part of the game. And again, learning through defeat and victory. We came out victorious, but there was a lot of plays in there that shouldn't have been there. And these guys know that. And what they do, they put their head down, and we're back to work this week. You wouldn't have known the difference in week 1 to week 2 to week 2 to week 3 as far as the players' intensity and their level of detail, because they want more. They want more for themselves. They've set a certain standard in that room, and I see it. It's not just lip service. So now we just got to make sure we handle the execution part for those 60 minutes come game day.
Muhammad got more last week, and it seems like anytime he gets a chance, he seems to make the most of it. What does he do up front that gives you guys a unique look and advantage opposite touch?
Yeah, I told you guys, week 1, he was slated to get more. We played 47 snaps. Last game, we played 70. So he was right there in the target range where we saw him and having a role. And he's done what I've seen him do since day 1 of training camp. He's coming here with nothing promised to him. He didn't even know if he was making the team. It's an 8-9-year vet playing in the preseason. All out. Just go turn on the preseason games and tell me what you see from number 96. It's the same thing we're seeing now. So as we move forward, on and on, has nothing to do with who's available, who's not available. If you're available for the game and you show us you've earned the right to be out there and get a role, we're going to find that role for you. And the better you do, the more that role will uptick for you. But he's been phenomenal, man. It has nothing to do with ability. Look at the effort he plays with. That is the identity of the Detroit Lions defense. Forget the stats. Forget any of that stuff. Just talk to me about Muhammad's effort, and that is the standard for the Lions defense.
How important is physicality to what you want to do this week? I mean, Scotty said it yesterday, last time you played him, that kind of punched you guys collectively in the mouth. So just to make sure that you guys are winning that battle.
Physicality is important every week. As a defensive player, as a defensive coach, that's what we preach. It's the only advantage you now still have as a defensive player. This whole league's tilted to offense, and that's all good, and we understand that. But the one thing they can't tilt is the way we attack the football and the level of physicality that we try to impose on our opponent. And that's non-negotiable. That's the way we play. It's the way we practice, and that's the way these defensive guys want it. So that's every week. I get, listen, it's Baltimore, all that. That's every week. I wanted to see physicality week 1. I wanted to see physicality against Chicago Bears. I'm going to want to see it every week, no matter who the opponent is.
What have you
Shep,
thought of
Last two, Tim and Nolan.
I'm curious what you thought of Tylee's. We talked earlier. It's not always going to show up on the stat sheet with Tylee,
Yep.
just the position that he plays, the double teams, and everything, allowing other people to make plays. But watching the tape, what have you thought of his play the first 2 weeks, and where do you see him kind of ascending to?
I see him growing every day. I see him growing every week. Leaving that mindset of I have to make the play to have an impact on the game, coming from being a college player and a dominant college player to understanding his role and how we see him making plays. I think that's the biggest progress, and I appreciate the player because that's hard. You come in, these preconceived notions that you got to be the difference maker. Well, this is what a 3 technique, a nose tackle, this is the way you become a difference maker for us. And it showed up. Turn on his double teams, turn on the third and 1 and the 4th and 1. That's all you got to do. If you want to know the impact why Brad in the front office went out and targeted his player, turn on that 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 stop. Those are quarterback sneaks. The percentile is in the 90-something percentile in this league. And that play got stopped largely due to that player. Now, there was other people involved. 2 critical 3rd downs where that's like being in man-to-man coverage. He gets a PBU. Those are huge plays that alter the outcome of the game. And he's showing up. And the more and more it goes, I think he's going to start to show up more and more on the stat sheet because he's doing it within the framework of the scheme.
Brian, since he got here, but I'm just curious, since you've become the defensive coordinator and are doing a lot of the game planning and figuring out how to deploy him, what have you learned about him and his skill set and just what he can do out there?
I learned that there's so much growth left with that player. A lot of coaches will see a player like that and be so excited that you forget to coach him. Like, I see that there's so much left within that player. And when I say a joy to coach, he wants to be coached hard because that's the right way to coach is hard. And he wants that. He comes from that. He grew up in that. And it's why you see him ascending. Every year it's like he gets better. That's not by accident. The time he's putting in off the field, the level of detail, the questions he's starting to ask that he would have never asked his rookie year. Last year, he started to pick it. The time he's putting in with Coach Jim O'Neil, who's doing a phenomenal job with those guys, not just saying, I got 2 All-Pros. There's still meat on the bone left with that player. But make no mistake about it, he is, if not our best, one of the top pillars to this defense. And I want that to be said. And we go as far as our pillars take us. And he's one of those, and he's a pivotal piece for me each week, week in and week out.
Can I ask a real quick one up for you, Shep? Just the intensity and the energy that you talk about, how much of that starts with you? Like, we saw that very animated kind of dancing after the big stop last week. How
It
much?
starts with Dan Campbell, our head coach.